Thank you. I'm going to turn now to Pilar Martinez. You also have taken on leadership positions in a number of different ways, I think, but particularly in this case, in a pioneering social business in Nicaragua. Women, to my understanding, have not traditionally taken leadership positions in agricultural businesses in Nicaragua. So what contributed to your being able to become the strong leader that you are? And what are you most proud of as you think about how you're leading in your community?
Thank you, Carol. Can you guys hear me well? Excellent. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for this opportunity. So I would say I wouldn't necessarily contribute it to one single factor that helped me become, I guess, a strong leader I am today, but a collection of factors, and I would center it among three. So I think the first thing is, personally, I was the youngest of 5 children, and I think that definitely pushes you to be heard, find your voice, and learn how to persuade and defend your views. Secondly, I would say the context. Growing up in the second poorest country of the Western Hemisphere, where need and poverty is a constant wherever you go, it sparked early in my life this calling for being a change agent and a service for the greater good. This background, I would also say, it instilled a strong sense of humility when employing leadership roles to inspire people from all walks to follow your ventures and bold ideas. Having amazing role models and growing up surrounded by family members with grandparents, uncles, and now cousins and siblings who are highly successful leaders in the medical, government, or private sector community, it has been a source of inspiration and continues to be for me. And lastly, I think this is a critical element that I teach it to my daughters and read to them. I have this great book from Chelsea Clinton on persistence. And, rather than moving away from all those princess books, it's about the importance of women and being a source of inspiration for others on how persistence is key. So Nicaragua is a highly volatile economic country where wealth is not always passed along equally within generations. It's been a country historically tarnished by multiple revolutions. So in my case, prior to graduating from high school, I knew that if I wanted better academic opportunities, I had to get a scholarship and study abroad. I knew that very clear. So this is precisely what happened. I remained persistent against all odds, paving the path to reach my dream. And this is how doors opened up for me. I got the chance to study economics in Boston. I worked in Washington, D.C. for international organizations for over a decade. These experiences shaped me in helping to become what I believe the confident leader I think I am. And it sparked the passion for doing economic development in a more sustainable and holistic way, which is how I went about and co-founded this social enterprise in Nicaragua in agriculture with rural farmers. So basically, Cosecha Partners model is unique in that we're not an intermediary. To better capture data on the farmer environmental footprint, we organize farmers directly on the ground. We offer technical assistance, training, finance, and access to certifications like fair trade, organic, and now we're one of the few in Latin America offering regenerative organic rock certification. We handle all the steps along the value chain until we get the product processed and export ready to be shipped to the end client. We use also blockchain technology to offer transparency of farm gate prices to clients, what we pay to the farmer. And we also have technology that is cross-cutting across our social impact programming, which allows us to map exact GPS location of all of our farmers, including, for instance, percent of land converted to organic. We are actually currently looking for a carbon offsetting certification to help channel more funds to our farmers who are working very hard to protect the environment based on their sustainable land practices. Nicaragua, basically most of the agriculture, I would say 94% is done conventionally. And what we're doing is advocating for small farmers to adopt organic regenerative farming practices so they can better protect the environment, but also guarantee more sustainable livelihoods for their future generations. And we're helping them move away from subsistence farming to diversify their production to more niche superfood products. Precisely, we have as we're creating a macadamia new industry for Nicaragua, there's not really an industry in macadamia here. And so as we develop this new value chain at the country level, we're working particularly with coffee farmers And we are doing a lot of work around selecting these coffee partners and targeting women. And so what we see that is that this represents a great opportunity for women to also include them more in our certification. That's our strategy, because as you include them in your, whether it is organic or fair trade certifications, indirectly you're pushing them to commit to participate in our trainings, to participate in our events, and in our direct technical assistance programming. And so it definitely pushes them to be out there. And so I think that's the first step. How do we pave that way for them to feel more comfortable? And so it's when we go out with our technical team searching for these groups, is being more specific and more, in purpose, looking for that woman voice in our certifications, because if they're there, they have to do all these other commitments. And so I think this is something that in our other value chains, like in chia or cacao, we see roughly a 20% participation. It's very hard work to get. It's something that we see in Nicaragua. It's really hard traditionally to get women to participate more in agriculture. But with macadamia, we're already at over 35% participation. And so I think the more we share these best practices, would be interested to hear Kenya and Cote d'Ivoire too. I guess in our case, we use technology at two levels. One, as I mentioned earlier, clients more and more and customers are looking for more of blockchain technology, understanding what all the transparency along the value chain and what the end price was for the farmer. So that's one way that we employ transparency and accountability in the value chain. And second, because we're a hybrid business, that we also look at the social impact side. We doing baseline assessments on farmers' income when we onboard them, and following over the years to see how our programs are impacting their day-to-day lives is integral to be able to then convey and capture and synthesize that data across different partners, whether who are looking for that kind of information. And so for us, it helps us to pivot and to shift as needed as we go. And so being working in agriculture, data and technology of it is fundamental. And so we use technology, for instance, it doesn't require internet. We have technicians that go to the rural communities. And so it has to be also very practical and simple for our technical team to be able to adopt fairly quickly. And I love the question on decolonization, but I guess that's for a separate, I can answer that later.